Hi there. Do you ever wake up feeling a certain kind, or do you encounter people and you just know they're in a crappy mood? Well, this month during Stress Talk, we're going to talk about mood and how that affects your stress levels and what you can do to keep those stress levels down. We'll be back in just a moment to start. Hi, friends. I'm Marcelyn Bailey of Stress Talk Live. I've created an experience for super women so that they can rejuvenate their mind, body, soul, and spirit so that they can refresh, relax, and rest so that they can give their all to their family and to their work. Because that's what super women want to do. They want it all and they're going to give their all to get it. Well, through our series of supports, we help you to learn how to do that in a way that you can constantly rejuvenate yourself so that you're not depleted and you don't get burned out. We've been talking about stress. That's what we do here on Stress Talk. And at the beginning of the year, we started talking about how it's important to lay a foundation for your vision for your life, the life story that you want to live and that you want other people to tell about you. And that foundation is wrapped into your mission and your mission statement. And we talked about how once you have a clearly defined mission statement, you can then filter all of your decisions, all of your thoughts, all of your beliefs, and your actions through that mission statement. It keeps you on track and it also helps to lower your stress levels. When we got to March, we started talking about your thought life and how the content of what you're thinking on a day-to-day basis can contribute to increased stress. We also talked about the tenor, meaning whether your thoughts are positive or negative, and how that can increase or decrease your stress levels. Then we moved on to June. And in May. And in May, we began to talk about how it's important to move, how physical movement helps us to loosen our joints, but it also helps us to release stress because we tend to hold that feeling and the residue, the residual effects of stress in our bodies. We also talked about how stress is really a response. It's a physical response to whatever change that we experience or whatever influence that we are experiencing at the moment. Remember, we talked about how when you take the trash out, you might see a raccoon or you might be startled by some sound. We also talked about how our thought life can contribute to that stress response that kicks in when we perceive or we imagine a threat. Well, we're into July now, and we're going to be talking about mood and how our mood affects our stress levels. But for today, we're going to go back and do a little bit new and also introduce some new information. I'm also going to give you an activity that I think is going to help you to set some foundations or parameters for what we're going to do and work through for the month of June and I'm sorry, where am I? The month of July and August. You know, I'm going to be real with you for a moment. I'm always disclosing things. I am having a fabulous summer because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. You want to have those times when you can do whatever it is you want to do. And that's what I'm doing. I'm reading, I'm exercising. I've been riding my bike, I've been swimming, I've been walking, been doing all of that stuff. I've been doing a little weight pumping too. But I've gotten to read some of the things that I've been putting off. I've been watching and catching up on shows that I've been putting off. And I've been cooking, which I enjoy too. So I have the time during this summer to do those things, and I'm enjoying it. I've also traveled a little bit. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be on the road this coming weekend to visit my aunt who is celebrating another birthday. And that is such a blessing to have aunts and family members who continue to celebrate birthdays, right? So I'm going to go and celebrate her birthday with her, along with her family and my mom and other family members. So that's going to be a good time. We're going to have a blast. So that's probably why my mood is I feel really happy, right? So let's talk about mood, okay? Let's talk about it. What is it exactly? When we say your mood, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about your state of mind. We're talking about that predominant emotion that you're feeling at the moment. It could be anything. It could be sadness. It could be happiness, like I'm happy. It could be elated. You might feel discouraged. You might feel embarrassed. You could feel elated. You could feel over the moon happy. You could also just be status quo. You could be like, I see. I'm neither happy nor sad. I'm kind of in the middle, right? But your mood is something that you wake up with, and it fluctuates throughout the day. You can be up, like really elated, and then your mood can plummet because of things that happen or thoughts you experience, right? The thing that we want to remember about mood is that we express it. We express our mood. When we see other people, they can tell whether we're in what type of mood that we're in. They can tell by our facial expression. I'm smiling. So you probably say, oh, she's happy. I also told you I was happy. So I'm smiling. But what if I wasn't smiling? What if my face was, you might think that I was angry, right? What if my face was like this? You might think I was sad. So we communicate and express our mood through our face. Now, sometimes that's not always accurate because we don't always know what we look like when other people are seeing our faces. You might be a person who somebody says, are you mad? Are you upset about something? No, I'm not. Because, whoa, well, you weren't smiling. Okay. So, but we do communicate and express our mood. We express our emotion for that moment through how we look. We also express our mood with our body language. For example, if I'm standing straight up, right? I have my shoulders back, I'm standing tall. That's a stance that people who are confident have. What if I was slumped over? I would be expressing perhaps that I was sad, I was frustrated, I was discouraged because I was slumped over. So our body language has a lot to do with how we express our mood. Also, I could express a feeling of anger by being like, all drawn up and ready to pounce. In the South, we say that when people look like that, they're bowed up. That's a Southern expression. They are bowed up. Oh, he was all bowed up. So that's something that this northern girl had to learn what bowed up means. And it means you're ready to fight. So in the South, at least in the Southeast where I live right now. So your body language also expresses your mood. The tone of voice also expresses mood, right? The tone and tenor of what you're saying. So right now, I'm very quiet and my voice is kind of sing-songy. Yeah, it's kind of sing-songy, and it also expresses that I'm kind of happy. But what if it was short and staccato like this? My voice is short and I'm just talking to you the way I want to express how I feel. That gives an indication that I'm angry, I'm short tempered, I'm feeling impatient. My mood is impatient. Okay. So when we have or we are experiencing a certain mood that's inside of us, we express it to other people in ways that we often don't realize. Our facial expression, our tone of voice, and our body language. But guess what? That's how other people express their mood to us as well. And we do a lot of reading of nonverbal language. We try to read what other people are thinking and feeling by how they are presenting themselves, right? This is important because the way we express our mood can impact the stress that we feel. If we encounter someone who is bowed up, our stress level may increase because we might perceive that we are under a threat in some way. Okay? If our supervisor is walking towards us with a resolve, a resolve walk, like, and they're not smiling, we may perceive that her mood or his mood is one um, of very businesslike, we would hope, but one of urgency, which would cause us to experience the stress response. Likewise, when we are in a certain mood, when we encounter people, they too are trying to read us. And if we're not verbally communicating what we're feeling, they're going to assume that they know based on what our face looks like, how our posture is, our body language, and our tone of voice. Mood is a very important component in stress release and how we manage stress. And we're going to talk about today as I said, in a way of review and as a way to present new information, we're going to talk about the 5 aspects that influence our individual levels of stress. And these are the 5 life aspects that will impact or influence our individual levels of stress. Mood is one of them. And I'm going to pull up my little PowerPoint right now so that we can go through. I know you can see this. Okay, here we go. So the question that I've asked today and what we're going to talk about today is, do any of these 5 things increase your stress? And I had to take a little sip of tea. And these 5 things are very instrumental. And we're going to talk about them over the next few weeks in detail. Because if we can learn to notice and become more familiar with how these five things impact or affect us, then we can learn to manage our stress more effectively. We can be those super women that we really want to be, because we will recognize when our energy is being depleted and when we need to re-energize. We will also be able to understand how we can change or adjust some of these things, and that will help us to minimize the increased stress, as well as help us to also refresh ourselves when we're in the moment. We want to, and I'm saying all of this because it's important for us to know that we're living a story, right? And we're the heroes of our individual stories. And we want to live, all of us want to live in a way that when we are, because we are the heroes or the protagonist of our story, we want our stories to end on an up note, right? We love stories that have happy endings. And that's what we want for ourselves. We want our story to have a happy ending. We want to visibly see the victory in our story. And all of us, as I said before, we are all heroes of our story. And that's why one of the reasons I've created this experience, because I recognize that you all are the heroes of your story, just as I am the hero of mine. And we want to live our life story in a way that we are victorious, in a way that we can address the chase and come out on the other side knowing that we've met the challenge and that we have achieved victory. We want to know that when we see the cloudy skies coming, we want to know that we have the power, the ability, the skills, the strength to get through those clouds and come out on the other side and experience the rainbow. So that is one of the reasons that I've created this experience for you as well as for me. Because as the hero of your story, you want to live in a certain way that it allows you to experience the victory. It allows you to see the victory and feel the victory. And you want other people to see that victory as well. So let's talk about the 5 things that may increase your stress aspects, that I call them aspects, that influence our stress levels. The first one is our environment. And our environment includes the sights, the sounds, the smells, the things that we can touch, the things that we can taste. That includes all of our environment, the things that all of our 5 senses experience. It's the physical structures as well as our emotional and mental structures, right? It includes the actions and interactions that we experience on a day-to-day basis. Included in our environment are the situations and the events that we are a part of. Not only the situations and the events that we're a part of, the situations and the events that we are told about or that other people share with us. It's the space that we occupy. It's where we live and breathe and move. And does that sound all encompassing? Well, it should, because it is. It's not just our home, it's where we work. It is not just the physical structure of our home or the physical building of our workplace. It's the interactions that make those places. It's the atmosphere. It's the mood, so to speak. It's the temperature, so to speak. It's all of those things that we experience, that we take in, and that we're a part of. That's what our environment includes. And yes, our environment does influence our level of stress. And how does it influence our level of stress? It influences our level of stress because it is within that environment that we want to experience safety, stability, and security. And anytime we experience anytime that our safety, security, and stability is threatened in any way, whether it is an actual threat or a perceived threat or an imagined threat, it causes our stress levels to increase. Medicine Net has a great definition of environment, and I'm going to read this to you. It says, the Medicine Net definition is the sum of the total of the elements, factors, and conditions in the surroundings which may have an impact on the development, action, or survival of an organism or group of organisms. The sum of the total of the elements, factors, and conditions in the surroundings which may have an impact on the development, action, or survival of an organism or group of organisms. That is Medicine Net's definition of environment. And again, we want to be in an environment that provides safety, stability, and security. And when we perceive, imagine, or experience a threat to those three things, it causes the stress response to initiate and the stress levels to increase. The other aspect that influences stress, physical reactions. Now, physical reactions are body changes or the outcomes of body changes. So when we're talking about physical aspects, we are definitely talking about the stress response, because the stress response is a physical response. And it includes our hands and our feet get cold, our extremities get cold, our heart pounds harder and faster. We breathe faster. We get stomach butterflies when the stress response is initiated. But it's other things as well. It's not just the stress response. It's a physical condition like diabetes or high blood pressure, arthritis, lupus, any compromising condition. Those cause our the stress response to initiate, and it increases our stress level. It puts stress on the body. Heart disease increases the stress level. Migraines, headache levels. When you do not feel well, your body is under stress. Any illness, whether it's chronic or whether it's acute, meaning it's short term, will increase the stress that's on the body. So, when we're talking about aspects that influence stress, physical reactions are one of those things that increase the stress that we experience in the body, both chronic conditions as well as acute illnesses. When you have a head cold, you don't feel good. It doesn't last long. It may last a few days, a week at the most, right? But because your body is under stress, it may take longer than 1 week for your body to recover to the point where it was. The same as if you have the flu. You have the flu, and flu can last for a week. When you're not feeling well, you're in bed, you're tired. But again, it may take longer than a week for your body to fully recover. That's because your body has experienced a stressor. So, environment and physical reactions are of the 5 life aspects that influence stress. What about mood and emotions? Absolutely. Our emotions have a great deal to do with our stress levels. And this is what we're going to talk about in depth for the next few weeks. Depression, sadness, nervousness, anxiousness, anger, excitement are just some of the emotions that we can experience. And you can actually, and we're going to do this at some point, I'm going to ask you to just Google an emotions list. All of the emotions that we could possibly experience. We're not just happy or sad. We have a range of emotions. And while having emotions is very natural, and we should have a range of emotions, it is when those emotions are constantly active. That is when it increases our stress level and it maintains a certain level where the stress response is constantly going. Anxiety is an overactive stress response. So we want to understand our emotions. We want to understand how emotions and mood affect how we function in our environment. We also want to understand how our emotions and our mood affect the physical reactions. Now, one of the things that I always share is that when we have a chronic condition like high blood pressure or diabetes, our emotions, because our emotions and our mood affect the stress response, and because our body is already being stressed because of the condition, when we have an extreme emotion, or we are experiencing a constant emotion that is not healthy, it will affect our condition in a negative way. When we are worried and we are nervous about something or anxious about something over a long period of time, it will affect your blood pressure. It's going to increase, right? Because your body thinks you're under threat. When your stress response is kicking in, your blood pressure automatically goes up. So it is important to understand your moods and your emotions, because that will influence your stress levels. So behaviors is the fourth aspect. So how does that affect stress levels? Well, when we experience a situation or an event in our lives, we often do things, especially if it's an event that we perceive is harmful to us. We will do things to try to relinquish the problem. Sometimes, however, we will do things that exacerbate the problem. We make it worse with our behaviors. Behaviors are an interesting um, aspect because behaviors are not, we don't, I'm sorry, my brain is going faster than my mouth. Behaviors are an interesting aspect because we will behave in a certain way or we will take action based on what we are currently seeing, what's occurring in the present moment, or based on a memory that we have had from the past, memory of an occurrence or an event from the past. Past events and memories from the past will encourage certain behaviors. Doesn't mean that those behaviors are healthy, but they will encourage certain behaviors. Let me give you an example. If you see a dog, a German Shepherd, and let's say that when you were 10 years old, you were bitten by a German Shepherd. Unless you have had experiences with German Shepherds that have changed the fact that you were bitten by a German Shepherd and you began to believe that German Shepherds were dangerous, you're going to be fearful of that German Shepherd that you see today. And because of that fear, you're going to behave a certain way. You're going to move away from that dog. You're going to cross the street. You're going to avoid it. So our behaviors can be based on what is presently happening, a current situation, or it can be based on a past situation and the memories of that past situation. And we're trying to either relinquish the problem, but sometimes we can exacerbate or make the problems worse. And then finally, our thought life. Our thought life can be subjective, or our thoughts can be subjective or objective. And when we're thinking, we might be thinking about a situation or an event. We might be thinking about an experience that we've had. And it could be based, our thought life we could be thinking about past situations, past experiences. We can be thinking about present and what is going on right now in our lives, or we can be thinking about the future and what's happening, what we want to happen, or what could possibly happen in the future. When we're thinking about the present, that's a healthier thing. We're being mindful of what's going on right now. When we think about the past, it can cause us to have depressed feelings based on what we're thinking about, right? When we're thinking about the future, it could possibly cause us to have anxious feelings because we don't know what's going to happen. So our thought life has a great influence on the stress that we might feel. It also impacts, and we're going to talk about that in an upcoming Stress Talk Live, how thoughts influence mood and emotions. So we know the 5 things that can influence our stress levels. Those 5 things again are our environment, physical reactions, which includes the stress response, as well as chronic or acute conditions or illness, moods and emotions, behaviors, and our thought life. Activity is adapted from the book Mind Over Mood: Change the Way You Feel by Changing the Way You Think. And it's the 1995 edition. But I want you to do this exercise. First, I want you to choose a problem or concern, a problem of concern or a situation that makes your stress level go up. And I'm sure many of us can quickly think of something that causes their stress level to go up. When you choose just one, I want you to describe the situation. What happened? Who was involved? And then I want you to notice your body. What do you experience when you're thinking about that situation or when you're writing about that situation? Just scan, and what do you experience? What do you notice? Do you notice a change in your body? Is your heart beating faster? Do you notice your breathing getting short? Do you notice a tightening in your muscles? I want you to just notice. Do you notice butterflies in your stomach? I want you to just notice and take time to really notice what is happening in your body. Then I want you to describe the emotion that you're feeling. Let's get a sense of the mood that you're experiencing as you think about or write about that problem or concern. Next, let's talk about the behavior. What are you doing or what have you done to address the concern? What kinds of things, what kind of behaviors have you done in a way to either get away from what you were feeling or to prevent what you were feeling or to stop feeling what you were feeling or to address the concern that caused you to feel that way? And then finally, what thoughts are going through your mind about the situation, those involved, their response to you, your response to them, or what are your thoughts about you and how you handled the situation? I'd like for you to do that activity and then bring it with you the next time we have stress talk. Maybe you can even email me what you came up with. I'd really like to know. And I'd like to know because that is how we get more, we become more aware of how we react when we're faced with a situation that causes us to feel uncomfortable, or when we're faced with a situation that is unpleasant. These are the 5 aspects of our lives and our life stories that cause us to have increased stress. We're going to talk about this. We're going to keep talking about it, and we're going to talk about thoughts and mood the next time we get together on Stress Talk. Don't forget, leave a comment. Leave a comment for me. Even if you're watching the replay, leave a comment for me. I want to know what you're thinking about what we're talking about. Let me know if you have any questions, any concerns, because again, this is the part of the experience that I have for women who want it all, but find they're giving their all without being able to rejuvenate, refresh, and replenish their energy. I'm Marcy Bailey. I'm glad you joined me for Stress Talk Live. Hope to see you soon. Take care.